So I recently bought the TP Link X15 and I'm pretty happy with it so far. I got it on the Prime Day sale. It's at, $70. A lot of people think that the Prime Day sales are not actual sales, but if you look at the price history via the Honey app, it shows you that it was initially 119. So during the Prime Day events here, you can see it's now at $70 for the 2 access points. This is a great deal. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure they're still worth the 120 instead of the usual 122. I guess if we wanted to, we can extend out and see what the prices are. So there are times that it goes on discount, but a discount is usually $100. So getting them at $70 is a steal. So I got them delivered yesterday, and this is the unboxing. You gotta peel off the plastic wrap that's on it, and once you peel off the plastic wraps, you'll be able to go ahead and open up the box and pull out the 2 access points. They're actually relatively small. They're not big in comparison to the Xfinity modem. If you've seen one in person, they're significantly smaller. So you get these 2 little access points and you put them anywhere, maybe like on a shelf or on a desk. Mine's right now are sitting on a desk, both of them. So one's in my bedroom and one is in my living room. So the main one's in the living room. I don't have them in the repeater mode. You can have it set up, and it will initially set itself up like that, where it takes from the first access point and then rebroadcasts the network. But yeah, I pulled them out the box. There is a manual that comes in one of the plastic bags. So you get the power cable, the Ethernet cable, the 2 access points. Yeah, as far as I know, it's only one Ethernet cable, but for a guy like me, I have Ethernet cables sitting around the house, so no big deal for me if they just want to have one Ethernet cable. And also, you're probably thinking that you're going to leave it in the default wireless mode that it comes in, the second access point. So as you can see, I'm pulling out the power cable here, and in one of the bags with the power cable, they had like a little manual, which honestly, there isn't much in the manual. They basically tell you, hey, this is the manual, and they have like 25 different languages, and it just tells you to go ahead and download the Deco app, which as you can see, I searched for Deco app on the Android store, download it, signed into my TP Link account. I already had TP Link light bulbs and switches. So what I did was I already had my account, so I signed into my account and enabled the biometrics, and then it basically tells you like, hey, go ahead, plug the device in. So what you need to do is take the first access point, plug it in near your internet modem. So if you have Xfinity, plug it in next to your Xfinity modem. Once you plug it into your Xfinity modem, let it boot up. You can plug in the Ethernet cable. The instructions will tell you to do that later on. Right now, you got to grant it location permissions. And so that's what you see me doing here. I'm just making sure like it has the permissions to the location. So, and also I'm also plugging in. So, this screen was here for a while because I'm plugging in the Deco devices, and then just running the Ethernet cable through. So that's, when you're ready, you can hit the grant location permissions, and from there, you'll be able to start the process of setting up the device. So yeah, see, it's telling me you want to allow location, and I feel like I had to do this again because it didn't work initially. But you turn the Wi-Fi on your phone, and what you're supposed to do here is you're supposed to look for the Deco access points, because what it wants you to do is find the Deco access point, connect to the Deco access point. You're not going to have a network on the Deco access point, but you're going to have a direct connection through Wi-Fi. So when you connect it through Wi-Fi, the app is going to connect to it and basically say, hey, let me start configuring that access point for you. And the funny thing about this situation is that, again, I had to turn on location, which I thought I did already. But once you turn it on, you hit allow, and boom, there goes the device. So that's the first Deco. So yeah, you're basically connected to your Deco via Wi-Fi. And it'll say that it found it, and it shows you that it's found the Deco, so you have to set it up. So hit setup, and then from there it will start configuring your Deco. Now there is still a lot that you have to do. Well, not a lot. I don't want to intimidate you guys. See, it's going to tell you to do things that you should have already done. Plug in the Ethernet into port 2 of the Deco. It's the bottom port. Plug it into your switch, your modem. For most people, it's just going to be your Xfinity modem or whatever network provider you have. You're going to basically plug it into the Ethernet port, and it's going to tell you like, hey, you don't have wireless on this network. You're just going to use the top option, which just tells you to connect this time only, and that's where it starts to do the configuring for the first deco. I'm actually liking these deco devices so far. I did come into one of them down, and all I did was just I rebooted it, and then now it's fine. But so far, so good. Speeds are fast. I'm actually getting a Wi-Fi 6 tablet for me to test some things with the Wi-Fi 6 on the deco. Now, so there is a part when the deco starts to configure where it tells you to create your wireless network. So what you do is you give it the wireless name that you want, usually the wireless name you already have, and then you give it the same password if you want all your other devices to auto connect. Because if you give it a new name, a new password, then you have to manually collect some of the devices like your thermostat. So what I usually do in these situations, I give it the same exact wireless name after I take down the existing wireless network, and then the same password, and everything just connects. So all my light switches, my thermostat, all my AC connects, and so it makes everything easy for me. So I go through, and as you can see, it creates the network, and you just connect to the wireless network, broadcasting from the deco. So now you're no longer on the deco's network, because the deco initially, before it's set up, it just has like a deco network for you to configure it. So once your wireless is configured, you connect to your wireless, and then in the deco portal, you will start to see the first deco. So right now, you should be plugging in your second deco. You plug in your second deco. For me, I ran Ethernet through my condo, so I connected the power and I connected the Ethernet on the deco. But I will say, even if you have wired in your network, right? So even if you have a wired network at home, meaning that you have maybe Ethernet jacks in every room, or you're running a cable, it's still going to connect your second deco wirelessly, which is great for some people because most people don't have Ethernet running through their house. And so the wired repeater deco mode actually works pretty well. I do feel like, depending on how big your house is, repeating the network isn't really going to be as fast as having your second deco plugged in Ethernet, in my personal opinion, and from what I've seen in the corporate world. Even though I feel like these devices don't perform like the corporate access points. The corporate access points, they actually do a lot of switching. So if you go to one access point, the closest access point that you go to, it's going to automatically switch your device over to that access point. So far with the decos, I don't know, man. I don't really think it does a good job switching, but I want to test going to the end of my condo away from the living room deco, and then going to the main room deco. Right now, the main room deco is not configured in this video yet, but eventually it will pick up on the fact that the second deco was plugged in, and there's already an existing deco on the network. The whole process with the second deco was kind of automated, but you have to wait for that second deco to kind of show itself. So boom, there goes the second deco. So this probably took maybe 5 minutes. So I go to the second deco, and then I have to rename that deco because it comes in with the default name of deco whatever. So it's in the main bedroom. I plug it in there, and like I said, when you set up your second deco is set up in like wireless repeater mode, meaning it takes the living room wireless and just repeats it, which is actually eventually okay. But initially, when I did the test, I was still connected to the living room deco, but I was, maybe about 25 feet away. And the first speed test that I did was just disappointing. So I'll show you the first speed test. My network is 800 down. So if I get anything close to 600 on the speed test, then that's a great speed test. But on this first speed test, it was just disappointing, man. I got, less than 100 down, like way less than 100 down. And in my mind, I'm just like, okay, something's going on here. And this is actually when I found out that the second deco was connected via wireless, and that the decos, in my opinion, don't do a really great job of like picking up like the closest, because I feel like in the corporate world, when you pay hundreds of dollars for access point, the switching works better. So it realizes that your device is actually closer to the one in the bedroom, and it automatically switches you. But even still though, my condo is not that big, so it's on the living room one. It shouldn't be giving me those speeds, but I think I had to give it a second to kind of like work out the network settings. There's also a setting in the main screen that you can optimize your network. I did do that. I went ahead and optimized my network because when you have a lot of wireless in your area, your devices can sometimes pick like the best channels to use. So that way you have less interference. So that might have also helped because I ran another speed test after discovering that I was not on the right access point for one. And then I also disconnected from my Wi-Fi. And when I disconnected from my Wi-Fi and reconnected while I was in the main bedroom, it automatically connected to yeah, this is me disconnecting right here. So what that's going to do is that's going to connect me to the closest access point, which for me is the one in the bedroom. So right now the iPad's the only device that is on that main bedroom access point because it's closest to it. So you know, you can go through and see your devices and where everything is connected, and you know, you can see all the devices connected to that. Some of those devices, in my opinion, should have been in the main bedroom one, but because they first connected to the living room one, unless the living room one goes down, they're just going to be on the main. Yeah, they'll be on the living room one, but if it goes down, they'll go over to the main. Like if it was offline with like no power, because if it's still broadcasting, they'll still stay on the living room one. But yeah, now I'm on the main bedroom, and I said, let me run a speed test. This speed test proves to me that if your house is not massive and you have these access points and you have them set close to each other, then the repeating of the network actually isn't a bad thing. Because if I did another speed test on the living room access point close to it and I got 600 down, and this is me in the main bedroom running the speed test and I'm getting these speeds in repeater mode, there is a way to have your devices kind of operate as access points instead of being routers, and then that helps with getting your access points off of Wi-Fi. So what you want to do is you want to go to the advanced settings, and from the advanced settings you can change the operation mode. So if you have an Xfinity modem, for example, and it does the routing already, you don't want to do the Wi-Fi mode. When you're doing the Wi-Fi mode, you're basically having it do the routing. If you have an Xfinity modem, do the access point mode, and that helped me out significantly because now it's on Ethernet. But overall, I'm happy with the devices. So if you're looking to upgrade your wireless network, I will have the link down below. Keep in mind, I am an Amazon affiliate, so if you buy through me, a little bit of the commission will go to me and my daughter, which I will appreciate because you know, daughters are very expensive. So but yeah, if you're looking to upgrade your wireless, this might be it. Because sometimes you know, you get the wireless from your Xfinity modem or whatever modem, and it just doesn't do a great job when you get to the endpoints of the house, and so you will need an additional device to help broadcast your wireless network. And once you buy these devices, you can just turn off the Wi-Fi on your original, you know, modem slash router, and have your modem do the routing, but have these do the wireless. And you know, there are different packages that you can get for these. If you go down to the bottom here, they got the Wi-Fi 5 edition, which, you know, if your speeds are not that fast, you can get the Wi-Fi 5 ones. But you got the Wi-Fi 6 ones, which is the ones I got. Those were on sale. They're usually $119. So if you catch Prime Day, which is still today's the last day, go ahead and get them. But if you have any questions, let me know down below.